Today's airy tale was shared by an online friend. His last name is Jung, and we'll call him Jung. Jung hails from a military family in Lanzhou, Gansu. His father is a veteran who has seen combat. After the war, Jung's father was transferred to Sichuan for garrison duty. Consequently, Jung was born in Chengdu, Sichuan, and now works and lives in Guangdong. During the 2020 May Day holiday, Jung promptly returned to Lanzhou to visit his family. Afterward, he used the remaining vacation time to join several friends on a road trip across the Northwest by renting a car. The trip was incredibly enjoyable. The route for this self-drive tour was collectively planned by the group. It started from Lanzhou, Gansu passed through the Labrong Monastery in Xia County, Gannan, and followed the Hexi corridor, fully enjoying the desert scenery along the Kili and mountains. They traveled through famous cities like Dunhuang, Jianji, and Wuwei, stopped by Qinghai Lake, and made a brief halt at the so-called Sky Mirror, the Chakra Salt Lake. Their final destination, 400 kilometers away from Chakra Salt Lake, was the Dachaden Malachite Lake, an untouched paradise that had not yet been officially developed and was locally known as a stunning sapphire. Upon arriving at the Malachite Lake, Jung and his friends were overjoyed. The beauty of the lakeside scenery was beyond description. Moreover, since the place had not been fully developed, it lacked any commercial atmosphere and was purely natural and beautiful. Having endured the hardships of the pandemic, everyone felt that such beauty and tranquility were truly precious. Next to the tent they had set up, they enjoyed roasted meat, drank Highland barley wine, and chatted animatedly. At that moment, Jung, emboldened and by the alcohol, recounted several airy stories he had heard to his friends. One of the friends sitting nearby, Jung, suddenly spoke up and said, "I've heard a very strange experience, and I'd like to share it with everyone. Is that okay?" Everyone replied, "Absolutely, please do." Jung had been invited by one of Jung's friends to join them on this road trip. He was a seasoned member of a local off-road club with extensive experience in off-road driving and having visited many places. He was a very kind person and had known Jung for many years. With him on board, everyone felt very reassured. Even if they encountered some difficulties, they were confident that they could resolve them smoothly. When Jung began his story, he said it happened to his neighbor. However, as the story unfolded, it became increasingly bizarre, and it seemed quite sinister. Judging by Jung's expression and tone, Jung and the others exchanged glances, each thinking the same thing. Was this really something that happened to his neighbor? For the sake of this story, let's call this neighbor Y. In 2002, when Y was a freshman in high school, his father was transferred to a city in the Northwest due to work. Y's father would have to stay there for several years. To take care of his father, Y's mother decided to move the entire family to this new city. The parents arranged for Y to transfer to a new high school and found a new job locally. The family rented an apartment near the father's workplace. Coincidentally, there was a factory workers' residential area nearby with available rentals. The buildings in this community were old-style, 6-story slab buildings, with 2 units per staircase. The father took a look around and finally chose a 3-bedroom, 1 living room apartment on the 4th floor of a certain unit. The landlord himself did not show up, but entrusted a distant relative to manage the property. This relative came with the keys, opened the door, and showed the father around the apartment. The father found the 3-bedroom, 1 living room apartment quite spacious. 2 of the bedrooms were empty and very clean. The 3rd room had some items in it, which seemed to be some miscellaneous items the landlord hadn't had time to take away, but they were neatly packed in cardboard boxes, sealed with tape, showing that the landlord was an organized person. The apartment was fully furnished and in excellent condition, ready for immediate occupancy. All that was needed was to buy some bed sheets and pillowcases. Upon seeing this, the father was very satisfied. Since the family was eager to settle down quickly, he didn't hesitate and immediately signed the contract and paid the rent. After settling in, Y's parents quickly packed up their belongings and bought some essentials. That very evening, the family of 3 moved into their new home. They tidied up a bit and settled in for the night. Y had a particularly comfortable sleep, so comfortable that he didn't even dream. The next morning around 9 o'clock, Y's parents left for work after preparing breakfast for him. Since the transfer procedures for Y's school hadn't been completed yet, he was scheduled to start as a transfer student in a week. During this week, Y stayed at home. After having breakfast, Y wandered around the apartment. He made his way to the balcony, intending to take in the view of the neighborhood. Their rented apartment was an old building with an open balcony. Standing on the balcony, he noticed that the weather was quite nice. Most people in the neighborhood were at work, making it very quiet. He stretched on the balcony, looking around, when he noticed someone on the balcony a few meters away downstairs. It was a middle-aged woman staring up at him. She was very ordinary in appearance and attire. She would easily blend into a crowd. This ordinary woman had a pale face, an expressionless look, and a cold, unblinking gaze fixed on Y. Y didn't know her, and her staring made him feel uneasy. He wondered to himself, "Who are you? Why are you looking at me like that?" He considered glaring back, but decided against it. Instead, he turned around and went back inside without acknowledging her. Back inside, Y was still feeling a bit uncomfortable when he suddenly heard some noise from within the apartment. It seemed to be coming from the room where the miscellaneous items were stored. It sounded like someone was rummaging through cardboard boxes. His parents were at work, and he was the only one in the room. His first thought was that there might be a mouse. Why am I hearing noises from the storage room? Is there a mouse running around inside? He wondered. He quickly went to the storage room and pushed the door open. The room was dimly lit because the curtains were drawn, but it was still daytime, so he could see inside. The room was tidy with boxes neatly stacked and no signs of disorder. He looked around but didn't see any mice or other creatures. Just as he was puzzled, he heard a strange noise from within the storage room again. What was it? It sounded like heavy breathing, the kind of sound someone might make when they were nervous. The sound startled Y, making the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. He let out a loud "ah" and quickly backed away, nearly sitting down on the floor. What's going on? What's making that noise? How come it sounds like there's someone else in here? What's happening? He thought to himself. He quickly shut the door and felt his heart pounding in his chest. He didn't dare stay in the room alone anymore. He quickly put on his shoes and ran out of the house. Where could he go? His parents were at work and he was alone outside. The sunlight made him feel a bit more relaxed. He thought to himself, I'm a grown man. If I go to my parents and tell them that there's something strange in the house and that I heard someone breathing, it would be ridiculous. I'd be laughed at. I'll go find my cousin instead. He had a distant cousin who worked as a security guard at a school in the city. This cousin had helped a lot with the transfer procedures. Y decided to go to the school and find his cousin. When he arrived at the school and asked the gatekeeper, he found out that his cousin had been on night duty the previous evening and was probably still sleeping in the dormitory. After finding out where the dormitory was, Y went to wake his cousin up. His cousin, woken up from his nap, was groggy and had dark circles under his eyes, looking like a panda. Y said, "Brother, what's going on? "You must be really tired from working the night shift at the school. I thought it would be easy just locking the school gates at night and sleeping in the duty room. Do you have to stay up all night?" His cousin replied, "Don't even mention it. It used to be easy as you said. Once the school gates were locked at night, what could happen? I'd take a walk around and sleep until morning. But ever since that incident at the school 3 months ago, things have been restless. It's been a bit better since school started again. But I still have one problem. I can't sleep during my night shift. I can't close my eyes for fear of having nightmares. It's better for me to just stay awake the whole night. It's been really tough." He had just been scared out of his wits at home for no apparent reason. He was feeling lonely and wanted to talk to someone. That's when he heard his cousin mention something about a strange incident at the school. Why's interest was piqued. He had just been spooked himself and was looking for someone to talk to. He urged his cousin to tell him what had happened. What happened at the school 3 months ago? Why asked. His cousin couldn't resist the pressure. He got up, washed his face, lit a cigarette, and took a few puffs before starting to tell the story. His cousin worked at the school, which was the best one in the area. It had both junior and senior high school departments. The school had a great academic atmosphere and the highest college entrance examination admission rate in the area. For years, the most serious incidents in the school were just some conflicts between students and teachers or fights between students. There had never been any serious malicious incidents that could make it to the social news. Until one afternoon 3 months ago, around 4 o'clock, his cousin was walking from the vice principal's office at the back of the school to the front playground. He noticed several students gathered together, pointing at the teaching building right in front of the school gate. "Be careful, be careful." The students were shouting. His cousin shouted, "What's going on?" Looking up in the direction the students were pointing, he saw a student on the 5th floor of the teaching building. The student was half in and half out of the window, sitting on the windowsill with half of his body already outside the window. Seeing how dangerous the situation was, his cousin opened his mouth to shout, go back, it's too dangerous." Before he could get the words out, he saw the student suddenly grab the window, step on the windowsill, and stand up. After standing up, the student wobbled and, without any hesitation, he jumped off the 5th floor. Amidst the screams of the students, there was a thud. In that instant, the air seemed to freeze and everyone fell silent, stunned. It took a moment for his cousin to react, and he quickly shouted, "Quick, help him." He rushed over as fast as he could. The scene was too gruesome to describe. The school immediately called the police, who arrived and cordoned off the area.